I swear on everything, the day I moved into this neighborhood, I thought I'd finally escaped drama. 2 weeks in a glamming white Mercedes Guagandela Bentley parked sideways across my driveway like it's claiming territory, and the woman behind the wheel steps out in yoga pants and a visor, screaming, "I ruined this cul-de-sac." My Ring camera caught her smirking straight into the lens while she blocked him in for 4 straight hours. I'm standing there with a U-Haul full of furniture, newborn baby asleep in necker seat behind tinted windows, and this lady has the audacity to tell me, "New people park in the guest spots until the board approves your garage privileges." I wish I could say I kept my cool. But when she flipped her hair and said my moving truck was lowering property values, something in me snapped. "I get her name," she said. "Karen Whitmore, HOA Vice President. You'll learn to respect rules, sweetheart." The way she emphasized sweetheart made my I smiled, told her no problem, and secretly ordered same-day delivery from a company I knew she was going to hate. By 7:00 p.m. that same day, 4 hydraulic Bollards rose from the ground right where her precious Mercedes Lavetto squat. She came screeching back an hour later because, surprise, her usual legal spot now had steel posts waiting like silent soldiers. The footage is pure chaos. Tires, spinning alarm blaring, and Karen beating on the doorbell at 2 a.m. screaming that I'd vandalized community property. "Ma'am, those Bollards are on my lot line, permitted and paid for." She didn't know that yet. The next morning, she left passive-aggressive notes on every car on street about dangerous obstructions and lawsuits pending. My wife was shaking reading them because Karen had snapped photos of our license plate and posted them in the neighborhood Facebook group with the caption, "Who approve this people?" That's when I realized that this wasn't about parking. This was war, and she just made it personal. Little did she know I'd already requested TEFL HOA meeting minutes from the last 5 years and found her name attached to 17 different violations she'd buried. Some woman writing $250 fines for unapproved Halloween decorations had been parking illegally every single day for 3 years straight. The irony tasted better than my morning coffee. That afternoon, she showed up again, this time with printed copies of the covenants, highlighting the section about aesthetic harmony. She waved them in my face and demanded I remove this ugly metal things before she called this. I just smiled and asked if she wanted to see the survey markers, proving every inch of those Bollards sat on my property. Her face went the exact same shade of her fake tan when it's about to crack. She stormed off, yelling that the next board meeting would handle people like me. I waved goodbye, hit record on my phone, and watched her reverse straight into the very Bollard shed just threatened to have removed. The crunch was so loud, the neighbor's dog started howling. Karen sat there frozen, airbag dust floating around her like a defeated cloud, while her 18K Mercedes now had to steel poles hugging the front bumper like it was modern art. And that was only day 3 of living. I uploaded everything to the Ring neighborhood feed with the caption, "When the HOA meets physics." Within an hour, the video had 40,000 views and comments flooding in from people who'd apparently been waiting years for Someone to stand up to her. Karen stopped answering her doorbell. But trust me, this story gets so much darker before the sun comes up on these perfect little cul-de-sac lawns. The next morning, I woke up to 127 missed calls from unknown numbers and my phone rating itself off the nightstand. Karen had created a private Facebook group overnight called Preserve Willow Creek Aesthetics and added every single resident except me. The pinned post was a 12-minute video of her crying in silk pajamas on her marble kitchen island holding the crumpled Mercedes bumper like a war casualty. She kept zooming in on the scratch that cost more than Miff's car and whispering, "This is worth a hands when we let outsiders ignore the covenants." By 9 a.m., the tow truck guys were laughing so hard they almost dropped her G-Wagon when they saw Theballard-shaped dents perfectly outlining posts. Karen stood on my lawn in sunglasses bigger than her personality, screaming at them to stop documenting events for my lawsuit. One of the drivers asked if she wanted the car taken to the dealership or this. She slapped him on camera. That the video went viral on TikTok before. That afternoon, the certificate letters started arriving. First one, $15,000 fine for unauthorized permanent structures, aka my bot. Second one, demand to appear at an emergency HOA hearing in 48 hours or face lien on my. Third one wasn't even in Anna. Karen slid it under my door herself, wearing a full blazer and heels at 8 p.m. like she was serving court papers on Law and Order. The note said, if I didn't remove the Bollards and pay for her repairs, she'd make sure my family never felt welcome in this county again. My wife was crying in the shower because someone had keyed trash into our brand new minivan while we slept. I kissed my sleeping daughter, locked the doors, and opened the HOA Dropbox. Linsman anonymously sent me at 3 a.m. That's when I found the motherlode. Karen's personal expense reports. Turns out for 3 years she'd been submitting fake invoices for landscape and maintenance and pocketing $87,000 of hoodoo. The woman crying about my $4,000 Bollards had literally stolen in nominee 2x6 of her wrecked Mercedes. I screenshot everything, sent it to the top 5 most active accomplinos in her Facebook group, and went to bed. At 6 a.m., my Ring camera caught Karen in the same blazer snaking around my yard with gardening shears. She clearly didn't know how to. She wrote, "Criminal, crossed my garage door in dripping red. Then tornado leave and walked face first into the motion-activated sprinkler system I'd installed overnight. The scream echoed so loud it set off 3 car alarms. By the time the emergency HOA meeting rolled around, half the neighborhood was parked on my lawn eating popcorn like it was the Super Bowl. Karen strutted in with a manila folder, thick enough to kill a man, and a lawyer who looked like Bill by the eyebrow raise. She started her presentation with a PowerPoint titled Terror on Maple. Beneath that, literally had a photo of my daughter's stroller photoshopped next to crime scene tape. That's when Margaret, sweet 82-year-old Margaret, who bakes Averian banana bread, stood up and said, "Karen dear, why don't you tell Averioni about the cruise you charged to the sprinkler fund?" The room went dead silent. Karen's lawyer started sweating so hard his tie changed color. Someone in the back whispered, "Play the video." And suddenly my phone was being passed around showing the Dropbox files projected on the big screen. Karen lunged for the projector cord, tripped over her own folder and face planted into the snack table. Chips and dip everywhere. Her lawyer just quietly packed his briefcase and left without a word. The president of the HOA, a guy who'd been terrified of Karen for a decade, finally found his voice and said, "Meeting, Karen, you're suspended, pending forensic audit." She ran out screaming that we'd all be sued for defamation, slipped on the dip-covered floor, and mooned the entire room when her skirt ripped up the back. The slow-motion replay someone posted later got 3 million views in a day. I thought that was the end of it. I was so wrong, because 2 nights later, at exactly 2:17 a.m., my Ring camera caught Karen in a black hoodie cutting my brake lines with gardening shears she clearly didn't know how to use. That's the moment this stopped being about parking and Beckham attempted murder. I didn't sleep after seeing that 2:17 a.m. footage. I sat in the dark watching Karen on the screen, hoodie up, kneeling under my wife's car with those stupid floral gardening shears snipping away like she was trimming roses. The brake line made a soft hiss when it gave. My blood turned to ice. This woman just tried to kill my family over a parking space. I called the police right then. Non-emergency hung up on me twice because HOA disputes are civil. I called 911, played the clip, and within 9 minutes, 3 patrol cars rolled up silent with lights off. Karen was still in her driveway pretending to water dead petunias at 3 a.m. when they cuffed her on thief. She screamed, "He set me up." Solid her own sprinklers turned on again and soaked the offices. The body cam of her slipping in mud while yelling "Ehive rights" is still the top post on a city's subreddit. While they were booking her, I got that call that changed everything. Detective Ramirez asked me to come to the station Beckos. They found something in Karen's Mercedes when they impounded it. I walked into an interrogation room and there on a table sat a thick pink folder labeled Willow Creek Reserves K. Whitmore Personal. Inside were bank statements, offshore account numbers, and a flash drive. Turns out the 87K Sheskim was pocket change. Karen had been running a full-scale HOA insurance fraud ring for 8 years, staging fake burglaries, collecting claims, then selling the stolen jewelry on the side. The total was $2.4 million. But the real gut punch was the last page, a handwritten letter addressed to me dated the day before she cut my brakes. It read, "You weren't supposed to fight back. Everyone else just paid fair spatial assessments and looked away. You made them ask questions. If I go down, your family comes with me." Attached was a photocopy of my daughter's decorate drop-off schedule and a photo of my wife taken through our kitchen window. That's when I started shaking and couldn't. The twist nobody saw coming. The detective slid another photo across the a 10-year arrest report. Karen's real name wasn't Karen Whitmore. It was Karen Marie Delgado. Wanted in Nevada for, wait for it, vehicular homicide. She'd killed a pedestrian in 2014, fled state, changed her identity, and hid inside the one place nobody ever questions authority, an HOA board. For 11 years, she'd been writing rules and collecting dues while hiding from a warrant. She thought if she scared us into leaving, the audit would die and her purpose would stay buried. Instead, she handed us the rope. The trial was a circus. Half the neighborhood showed up wearing t-shirts that said, "Bala Justice." Margaret baked cookies shaped like tiny Mercedes with red icing dents. The prosecutor played the brake line clip on a 70-inch screen and you could hear grown men gasp. Karen tried the tears routing again, but when they showed the photo of my sleeping daughter tucked inside her glove box, the jury took 11 minutes to come back guilty on every count. Attempted murder, fraud, identity theft, the Nevada warrant, life without. Last I heard, she's in Chwilla forced to eat cafeteria food. Fatos and meet her aesthetic standards and sharing a pod with women who don't care about curb appeal. Her McMansion went into foreclosure. The new owners turned out her precious marble island into a legatable for their kids. And the best part, the neighborhood voted unanimously to dissolve the HOA completely. We threw a block party on what used to be Karen's perfectly manicured lawn. Someone parked it sideways right where her G-Wagon used to sit and nobody wrote a single note. My daughter rode her tricycle in circles screaming freedom while the same tow truck driver who hauled the Mercedes brought a bounce house shaped like a rising bow. Sometimes late at night I still check the ring cam out of habit. But now when the motion light flips on, it's just Margaret dropping off banana bread and a little note that says, "Welcome to the neighborhood for real this time." And I sleep like a baby. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Every single subscription motivates me to bring you even more exciting and dramatic host stories. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a new. I'll see you in the next story where justice gets even more satisfying.